Alright, welcome to a new stream. I'm just getting set up for another minute. Today I'm going to be working on Japanese ghost story. It's going to be another fairly short stream, but I'm going to be finishing up this, and then moving on to the next one. Okay. Still got this cough going on. Hopefully the cats won't bother us too much today. Ah, forgot to change my changing the title of my stream. There we go. Alright, thank you. Okay, so back to this page. Yesterday I was working on the pencils a little bit for this one, but I want to finish up this page first, just to get it done. I really just have a little bit more here. Okay, so back with the Copic Multiliners. I love these pens. This one's the refillable one, and you can change out the nib. So it gives a really nice dark black for inking. There's a lot of pens out there that when it dries, it's not really black. So these are really good pens for inking. They're a bit more expensive. You can get some of the other pens that you can get them at really Office Max, or I've actually seen them in like CVS and Walgreens. So sometimes it's good to get something a little less expensive, but in the long run, I've been using these I've had these about 10 years, this particular one, 9 or 10 years, and they've just lasted forever. They have two different types. This one is the refillable one, and then they have one which is the disposable, and both of them are really good. The disposable one, the advantage of the disposable one is I've found that the nib is a lot more durable, and it runs out of ink less. Has a lot more ink in the reservoir. I think because it's disposable, probably the whole pen is filled with a reservoir, whereas the reservoir is only a certain size. So really 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But whatever suits you best. One of the reasons I like the disposable ones is if something happens to them, you don't feel so bad about losing a cheaper pen than a really nice pen. Looks like we're being visited by my cat. Hold on. I always like to check out what I'm doing. Hey guy. Whoa, don't step on that. I'm gonna close my stream. Cats always know exactly where not to walk. Alright, back to the inking. I have 2 black cats, which is perfect for interrupting me while I'm working on a ghost story. Everybody always thinks black cats are bad luck. I think they are great luck. I think when I'm working on something like this where it's a lot of just little texture over and over again, I actually don't mind the cats jumping up and getting involved because it keeps things from getting boring. seems like always they sleep all day until you start doing something, and then they want to be a part of it. And of course, they have to do things like knock into your equipment. So one of the things that you always have to pay attention to while you're drawing is keeping the whole thing even and consistent. Once you start doing something like a texture and you're doing it all by hand instead of digitally, then you really need to make sure to keep everything. You need to constantly back away and look at it kind of globally to see that everything still remains clear. One of the problems with this figure running through a grassy field is that because he has shading and the grassy field kind of gives a similar tone, you want to make sure that the area around him is dark enough to make him stand out. So not only do you need to make sure to keep everything consistent, but you need to make sure that everything's well balanced, the composition remains tight. You know, this could come across as very dark, but I think in this case it works just because it's nighttime and it's a ghost story, so obviously it's supposed to be dark because everybody knows that ghosts don't come out in the light. Or they may, we just can't see them. But it's always scarier at night. I swear that is the two cats playing with each other, and I'm not doing an Alinity stream. No cats were harmed in the making of this ghost manga. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that though. Letting my cats play with each other with a stream against TOS. Now, one of the things I like about the refillable multi-liners as opposed to the disposable ones is the if you look, when I do the blades of grass, if I use a whipping motion so that the pen lifts off the paper gradually as I make the mark, you can see that it tapers, and that's a lot easier. It's a lot more consistent, a lot easier with these nibs. Probably the same thing that makes them a little bit more delicate as compared to the disposable ones. Part of the material that's being used. The disposable ones, the nibs last a lot longer, but they're probably a harder compound, which is why the dynamics of the line work are a lot different. So for for the fine work, I do like using the refillable ones, just because I can get a different quality to the line. So if I can use the same pen towards the front to get more of a lighter kind of quality to the blades of grass by being really light with the pressure on the pen. And then as I back it away from the road, and I can apply a little bit more pressure, get a little bit different of a line quality. To kind of help the illusion that it's just a lush field of wild grass. That's mostly done. A little bit of kind of optical illusion here of lines of grass. That's why you always want to back up, kind of squint your eyes to see where the light areas are, where the dark areas are, so that you can go through and fill in where you need to in order to make it consistent. And again, darken it up here, kind of set off the figure. And you got cold here. Temperature dropped about 40 degrees in a day. How about the fall? How about this weather? I'd rather bundle up on the couch with the pets. There's fire and fireplace. Cup of hot coffee, hot cocoa, something. Yeah, now a cup of hot cocoa. The other thing you want to watch out for when you're doing something like this, because of the perspective, is you want to balance it, because you have the way the layout is, you have him running really large here, which ties him to this field, but then you have him smaller running that direction here, which ties him to this portion of the field. So you kind of have to take liberties with the size of the blades of grass to make sure that when when you're looking at the page as a reader, that it makes sense and that you kind of have good movement from the top corner of the page across and down. And this manga is read in traditional Japanese style with from upper right down to the lower left. Okay, I've had a couple of people coming and going. Feel free to say hi, type something in the chat. And if you're watching this on the VOD, you like what you see, click the follow button. I'm streaming most days of the week now. About this time, about 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, sometime between noon and 2 Central Standard Time. So if you like what you see, check back, follow so you get notified. Check out the other VODs that are available. I've done a couple of chibi sketches to warm up, getting used to the stream, and right now, because I kind of got into the groove of it, I'm working on a couple of manga. The one that I've been working on is it's a manga adaptation of a set of traditional ghost stories from Japan. So I'm going to be working on that until I get it finished. And I have a web manga that I'm working on, and all of the links are in my info. So if you'd like to check it out, I have a Patreon page which has all of the pages on it and links to everything. So so check it out. If you're seeing this as a VOD for the first time, just come on back during the middle of the day. Follow me on Twitter, connect up on the socials, Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, I always make an announcement ahead of time, so kind of give a few minutes warning. My Twitter and Instagram are both Pinky Racer Draws, and the links are in my info, so feel free to check those accounts out and connect up with me. And as typical, all comments and our tweets, retweets are appreciated. Right now I'm getting the stream started, but eventually I hope to have enough, meet all the criteria for being an affiliate and then eventually a partner. So anybody who wants to help me along that route, definitely you're welcome to come along for the ride. So how's that looking so far? Alright. Right now, when I'm doing the grass, and there are certain areas that I want to make a little bit darker to set off the figure, I also want to make sure it stays clear when I do have an area that actually is dark. So what I need to do is I need to kind of fill it in around the whole area, because this is light, that's light right here, and then this is just black, and I don't want that to disappear. And so I need to fill in the basic and then darken the areas afterwards that I need to. So the first step is to just go around, make sure everything is filled in. I think later today I'm going to go and get some new music to add to the playlist. My playlist consists of royalty-free music that my best friend clued me in to, that if you have a YouTube channel, then as part of the creator tools, people can make and upload royalty-free music that you can download and use on your videos and streams, etc. So that's what I did, and there's a lot of really cool music there. So, I have about a dozen songs that I've been putting on randomize, but I want to get a couple more songs. I like these songs, but I like mixing it up a bit. I feel like the same songs keep coming up, and I want to make it a little differentiation, a little bit different sometimes. I like this song. It sounds like it should be like on like some kind of movie driving through the Southwest. Or up in Utah. I think we're going to do a road trip through New Mexico. But it has to be crazy. It has to be a crazy road trip, like something that would be in like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Right along with Harvey Keitel. one thing that keeps everything a little bit more free to keep from getting boring is if you have these random tufts of whatever your texture is that you're doing. You do some of the randomization first and then fill in around it, and then that keeps it a bit more random all over. One of the things that you don't want to have with your textures is for it to get too boring and regular, like I can see right in here, because I did kind of linearly across the page. You see this banding, and that normally doesn't happen in a field of wild growing grass. So you want to kind of establish the randomness, and that's like even the length of the blades of grass and the location and the direction. Sometimes you get a little wild. I feel like I could use a fan brush. Drawing little fan brushes. Okay, so getting a lot of the randomization in kind of helps set the mood. So when I fill in and around it, it's less likely to just be to get too regular, too patterned, and get this banding here. You can see over here, that's what I did over here. So it looks a lot more random, like it would appear in nature. And again, in nature, you're going to get some larger clumps that pop up, some more sparse areas. And you're going to get all different directions for the blade of grass. One of the streams that I tuned into the other night, people were talking about reference material, and I think that nature is a good thing to have as reference material, just because sometimes it's easy to think, well, you have a field of grass and they're all going to grow the same length, they're all going to grow the same direction, and it's going to be even because, of course, it's just a blank field of grass, so there really isn't anything to stop grass from growing there, so they're all just going to just keep growing as tall as they want to. But really, if you do use a reference, references in nature are really good for showing you that nature actually, even though it follows rules, does have quite a lot of randomness in it. It can mean, you can have a shorter grass where a tree kind of overshadowed it, like here, probably if in this perspective, right, you have obviously the moon is up here. On the previous pages, I've already established that the moon is up here, and so the sun is up there, so you're probably going to get in different areas some shade from the bushes, in which case the grass, depending on the type of grass, may grow shorter, but then there's some grasses that like they like the shade, and so some of them actually grow more lush but shorter. They don't grow as tall, but it turns into more of like a soft carpet. So I've never been against using references as an artist, but I think that if you rely on references, then you miss a whole lot of information that's only available to you in the real world. So moral of the story is use references to learn about stuff, but then once in a while just go outside and just draw grass. And one of the jobs of artists is to convey ideas. All the creative people that I know, they they have a lot of ideas in their head. They have, they see the world in a different way. And somebody who may not be particularly creative in an artistic sense. But likewise, there are a lot of business people who think about a lot of stuff that I would never think of. So I'm not saying that creative people are better, even though we are. But I'm saying that, sometimes creative people can, they have a desire to express an idea that they have in their head. And so sometimes you don't want to get too stuck on reality. But then by the same token, you don't want to break the illusion. You don't want to have people who are like, if I wanted to make it seem like this guy was running through a field of grass, well, as a reader, you're expecting grass to look a certain way, to kind of have a certain quality about it that you can readily identify as grass. Like if instead, because I like techno stuff and I like cool technology, this was just like diamond plate with LEDs everywhere, and you wouldn't think that that's a field of grass. So as an artist, you need to learn how to render what it is that's in your head, that's your idea. And the best way to do that is to draw a lot from reality, like go out and actually experience how grass has a lot of variations in it, see how it gets affected by the wind, see how you see it is affected by the light and reflections, and the fact that the underside of the grass is a different color than the top of the grass. And when it gets a little dried out, the same grass looks different than when it's oversaturated with days and days of rain. Okay, so overall, this is looking really good. And now I'm going to go back to the position here that I was concerned about earlier, because I want to set off the body, but I don't want to lose the darkness on the hand now. Just want to fill this in a little bit. And again, because I want this figure to stand out, this is the ghostly figure of the story. So I want to make sure that she stands out. So I want to make sure, because she's so light, I can actually lighten that up. And then she casts a shadow here, which, because everything else around is light enough and her figure is going to be glowing in the moonlight, that I don't need to go 100% dark like I have over here. And that's kind of the same thing with him. He's in the same moonlight as she is. I want to make sure that it's not too dark around him, but also it is, it sets him off from the grass. And then of course you want to make everything, I want to make everything blend so it doesn't look like he has a huge solid black drop shadow. Select the figure in Photoshop and just do a drop shadow. Alright, so I think I got this pretty good. A little bit more touch-ups. Fill it in a little bit, tapering off. And when you sit back and you look at it, everything looks really good, I think. Okay, so have a little bit more darkening in here, shaping of the bushes. And for that, it really doesn't matter what technique you use right now. I'm just using hashing. Because what you want to do is all of these little gaps. I don't know if you can see it on my camera. It's too blurry. Got a little gaps in the areas that define the leaves. And so you just want to darken it a little bit to give a bit of depth to it instead of just a massive black splotches. Drawing is all about creating the illusion that something is there when there really isn't anything there. And when you look at the old masters and you look at how they drew, some nobleman with a big lace collar, and then you look and it's just blobs of paint. That's why they're considered the masters. It's because everybody looking at it sees a lace collar. And really, it's just a couple of blobs of paint. So what I'm trying to do here is my own little part to create an illusion of bushes and trees that have volume. Alright, so I think this page, I'm going to call this page done. And I'm going to call this stream done. And tomorrow, I will be working back on the pencils for page 7. So I hope everybody has a really great night. Well, great day. To me, it's afternoon. That makes it nice. Really great day. Let's see who is on to host. Okay, this is another artist. So just go on over and say hi. Type it. Alright, so have a great afternoon, and I hope people show up tomorrow or check out the VOD, and see you guys later.